Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. Welcome to Misty Hills. If you're new to the series, definitely hello, first timers, and if you're returning, thank you for being a loyal follower and just keeping up with everything I've got going on here. So this view kind of gives you a really all-encompassing view right now of what we've got here on the farm. So in the foreground here, we've got an automatic robotic feeding cow barn. We've got that fully stocked, and we're basically trying to run a dairy operation with the dairy that you have over to the left of the barn, a little further back. And then we've got a hayloft and a fermenting silo up near the top of the hill on the crest over there at the left side of our grass field. But because we've got some agreements going on with an FM on the server, Mithras, to sell, while we're buying his silage, he wanted an outlet to sell it, and I said, you know what, if you keep my BGA and barn going with that, and then at least I just have to worry about things like straw and hay and all the other stuff that happens on the farm, I'll go ahead and give you an outlet for that. So, and that's the last piece over there through the trees over on the right is the BGA that we have in the corner of the field. We're waiting for field 24, which is off behind us to the left, to come available so that I can really have a full-size crop field. And then there's a couple little parcels of land again behind me as I'm looking right now, which is where our yard will go across the street, kind of up and across the street. I guess it's off to the left a little bit from where we're staying, not really behind me. So that gets you up to speed either way of where we're at. Last episode I went ahead and topped up the cows again. They're trying to get running at this point because we don't have enough straw to make it through the year, which is why we need more crops. I don't want to eat up that field up ahead of me. It's just kind of not been the plan. The reason you're seeing that weird striping is some of that field is fertilized, some of the field is not. You can go back and look at the weeding episode that I had a few back to understand what happened there and why that occurs. But the focus of this episode is going to be dealing with the output of the cows. So after I did all the work to kind of get them their input, I realized, there's still a lot to do with what they put out. So that's what we're going to get into. So let's get going. And the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and I am going to take my flatbed trailer here, and since I don't have a yard, I don't have a local workshop location where I can work on my equipment, but the good news is the store is not too far away. But I need to get this configured back to a bale trailer, which is what it was on Shellbrook. Why is this not moving? I think it was that little GPS bug that happens once in a while where I just turned on and off the GPS. And that sometimes resets the ability to move. I don't understand why that happens. I don't know that anybody understands why it happens, but it does. So this area we just drove through, that's the yard space that I'm hoping to get. And that's actually 2 small parcels of land. So I've got 3 auctions I really need to have happen before I could consider my intent and my plan for my farm here to be complete. And I've been here a little while. For a long time, we were just kind of existing and not doing a whole lot. So there were probably 2 or 3 years that was happening here. And this is kind of really the first year or so that we're cycling through and trying to get a little bit more activity on the farm. But still can't get to full productivity till I get that field. I could probably survive without the yard. It's going to be less than optimal because I really don't want to put up silos until I have the yard. And again, you know, if I get a piece of it, I could determine what is going to be the most important thing. So, let me see. We're gonna... we'll repair this since we're here. But we're gonna customize this. And we're gonna turn it into the bale trailer. Which, as you can see, doesn't cost us anything. But you need to go to a workshop to do it. So normally I would do this on my farm, but I can't because of what I shared. Alright. Heading back here. So at this point, what the plan is I am going to go ahead and I'm going to take the output from the dairy, and right now I actually have everything running. I have butter and cheese being produced, but I have a lot more cheese available. I was going to kind of go through there, but it's not worth threading the needle. It's not like I can't drive through my grass field or whatever. Alright, go ahead and place it here, I guess. Alright, and then I've got my forklift parked over here. So this is the first time this is getting used here on Hobo's Hollow's version of Misty Hills. So, again, for newcomers, this series, as you've seen, obviously with the episode numbers, has been going on for quite some time. This is our third map that Misty Hills has been operating on at this point. I tend to be one of those that enjoy really kind of, you know, the intent of this and of FSN, as I view it, is just, you know, kind of set up your operation and run it, and just like real farmers don't just pick up when they're bored and say, I'm going to move to Europe and I want to work a European map. I don't do that in this series. I mean, I have that opportunity in other things, the single player things I do and so forth, but my intent was and always is here in FSN to kind of make this a permanent operation. So I kind of move reluctantly. So the first move was because we changed from FS19 to FS22. And so, obviously, there's not really a way to suddenly start playing FS22 without moving to FS22. It's kind of funny how that works. But, I know I'm far away. Just, if you're not familiar, I'm sorry. I know what I'm doing. It's the curse of knowledge. So, I know what I'm thinking in my head, but you don't. So, this is all cheese, but again, at some point a butter pallet may appear. I'm selling them at the same location, so I really don't care. I'm not looking at this point to go driving miles and miles to... Whoops, wrong thing. Obviously, again, I haven't used this in a long time, and I'm forgetting the controls of a forklift. So I'm tipping the forks instead of just picking them up, which is all I really need to do. So I think I'm going to load this other side first. I think there might be one more pallet of cheese. No, that's butter that popped out. So that may be all the cheese. And I think at best we're going to have 2 pallets of butter. So there isn't a lot that's been produced here so far. But going back to the moves, yeah, we moved from Seneca, which was my first location where I became an FM. And in FSN, we've got what are called mayors, which basically means you pay a monthly donation to keep the server operating, to kind of help cover the operating costs and so forth. And I chose to do that, A, because I wanted to support what was going on here, because there's a lot of uniqueness with FSN. Things servers run in real time. they're perpetual, so basically, you know, if I've got to go away for a week on a business trip or something, I've got a plan for that because the farm keeps operating, and so, you know, I do what I can. Obviously, there's certain things that aren't going to work, that can't happen and can't be not done for a week if things were to keep running. So example, like filling the BGA, and every day and a half that BGA would run out of silage, and that's one of the reasons, hey, the way I've solved that, rather than, well, that is what it is and I'm just not getting income, is I've gone ahead and contracted to buy silage from someone, and I've said, well, I'm buying it. I don't think they care where they deliver it, so instead of delivering it to a barn, I'm telling them, just put it right in my BGA, and that's all I need. So it's interesting because clearly it output another cheese pallet, so I'm assuming these production buildings kind of keep track of, hey, what got produced in what sequence, and then that's how they'll come out when they work. So I think I turned on butter, and then a butter pallet was done before the next cheese pallet was done. So that's kind of nice. I think I might have the forks too low. I'm having a hard time turning. So it's not that I don't know what I want to do. I know what I want to do. I just can't do it. Alright. So I don't know that I can get more than 3 per layer here. Do the straight overhead shot. Hopefully that was more interesting to watch. It was, I think, a little easier to see. Alright, at this point, I think we've got everything that can come out, because now the slot is not filling at all. Alright, we're going to lower this. Yeah, I was going to push it a little bit, but I don't really need to do that, so we won't. Challenge with loading these, because I originally had this set up when I moved into Shellbrook. I gave it a go with bees and honey, and that's what I had the forklift and the trailer for and so forth. But what I've found is as you load this, that trailer floats around. It's not the greatest setup. Do I have... I don't understand. Whoops, I think I hit the wrong key again. Oh boy, alright, there we go. It's always hard to tell if the forks are in the right place or not. But yeah, so the trailer tends to float as you move it. I mean, it's, I think because there's a slight hill here, it's at least floating this way, the way I'm loading it now, which is good. I think if I'm not careful, I'm gonna push those front 2 pallets. I'd rather not do that. Alright, we'll lower this down. That was a bit much, but it works. And so yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it. I didn't keep the bees for too long because of that, because it was just frustrating. Because one of the things, you know, we have to do most of, well, pretty much all the work manually. I mean, again, we can have others help as contractors. We can make deals like we did to have other FMs help us on the servers. You know, sometimes people will offer to help just from the goodness of their heart, or, hey, I'm bored, I got time, what do you need help with? But, you know, typically, like the real world, people want to get paid, they want to get compensated, so that's normally the arrangement. But we can't use like AI helpers, and not that you could do that for this kind of job in FS anyway. Whoop. Let me lift that up, because yeah, the forks are sticking out a bit. I kind of forgot about that. So now let me go here, and then I can lower this and move closer. Alright. But yeah, it just takes a while to load things. So as you can see, and like that one pallet is now precariously over. So I'm gonna fix that. Wrong key. I hate when I do that because I kind of have it nice and where I want it as far as not being angled. and then I'm messing around with that. But this pallet seems to be like sliding free, so we're going to give it a little nudge, and hopefully that'll just slide on up. There we go. Alright, now to be sure, I'm going to go ahead and get in here. We're going to strap these down, because I don't want to be stacking the rest and then have a problem. But we're going to get these other 3 on there as well, and then I can take a nice full load to the saloon and get them what they want, and get myself some money, which is what I want. It's the whole point of this, right? It's a farm. I sell stuff. Alright. So we got 2 pallets of cheese. Hello! I'm not pressing the button anymore. Why is this floating around on its own? Oh boy. I love FS controls. Always doing exactly what you want, he says sarcastically, in case that wasn't obvious. Alright, well, that's bad perception on my part. I thought I was over something, but I wasn't. Alright, so we'll do that. And so we got 2 cheese and 1 butter. So going back to the story of just moving, so we did that, and then we were on Shellbrook for quite some time, and the next move was precipitated, you know, for something that I don't normally do, or normally yearn for myself, which was we had enough FMs on the server that we're looking to do something different, that I'm like, yeah, you know, I mean, I'm not opposed to moving, I just prefer to stay put. And we had been on Shellbrook for, I think, 10, maybe going on 15 years, so it wasn't too bad. But what ended up happening, because even Shellbrook, like, there were only a few maps outside of the normal ones in the beginning. So the first move to FS22, we had agreed, like, we didn't want to go on the base game maps that just Giants provides with the game. We're like, we can do those in single player, and especially those of us that had gotten the game early when we were just wanting to see what it was like compared to FS19. And when I say early, I mean we got it on release day, but you know, those that knew we were going to go there eventually but wanted to try it in single player, obviously we had kind of played the heck out of the single player maps, and so it was like, yeah, we want to do something different in FSN, so let's just wait until we get a map we like. And Shellbrook had come along. I think they had 2 or 3 maps when they finally did release some more and say, hey, we're going to make these available in FSN. And we picked that one. But then there was basically a push, as had been in FS19, in FSN, to get a lot more variation of maps. Because there are people who are like, hey, I want to try things, and it's not uncommon for people to move. You know, I think the limit in FSN, or the requirement, is like you have to be on a map for 90 days before you can move again. Maybe it's 60, but you know, there is some time period. They don't want people moving every week or something, because there's a good amount of work to move an FM into a map and off a map and so forth. So they don't want people just hopping around like crazy. It's like you want to play a different map every day or two. Do that in single player. Like, FSN is not the environment for that. Alright, go ahead and leave that here. But you know, because of that, we had kind of gotten to that tipping point after everything had settled in and maps were becoming available again, all the garbage we need to deal with because Giants keeps insisting on releasing a quote-unquote new game when there isn't really much new about it. That's not what I expected. Luckily it didn't take the tractor with it. I would hope it wouldn't. The tractor's pretty beefy, but I didn't even think that was a danger of tipping over. But luckily everything was strapped down, so we're good. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the game being updated, because then we start all over with the mods. And so, you know, we're now a year and a half in, and it almost feels like the game's finally getting decent again. But if we stay on the same trajectory, that means we've got less than that time to enjoy it before they pull the rug out from under us and make us be miserable again. So, you know, every chance I get, I plead to Giants, like, get your head out of the I must release a new game and go with, like, some of the other games out there. Like, you know, there's racing games and music games and so forth. You know, I look at, like, iRacing or Harmonix or something. Even the truck sims, you know, those are getting up there 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road. They keep releasing new DLC, new content, new capability, but they're not forcing players to start completely over again. And so, you know, I always plead with Giants when I get on this topic, like, just stop doing that. And that way we can, like, people can build awesome mods and awesome maps, because they know they're going to be usable forever, for a decade or more. You know, just keep the game the way it is and stop changing it on us. But we'll see what happens. But in any event, then we got to that point, and FSN leadership said, hey, we're going to open this up. We're going to try to get like 10, 12 different maps in. And so that's kind of what led us here to Hobo's Hollow. I had never heard of the map. One of the other FMs proposed it when we were trying to figure out where we wanted to go. Unfortunately, as with anything in life, you know, there were differences of opinion, and so some people came here, some people decided to go to a different server, and things changed out. But here we go. Let me pop this up so we see what we get in total. Wow, 15,000, that's it. Now again, that is from barely 15,000 liters of milk. So it's not like, oh gee, I didn't get much, because cheese is selling for, I think, like $1,400–1,500 per thousand, and then the butter's about $700 or $800 per thousand. The only reason I'm running the butter is the consumption of the milk is really, really slow. So I've never run the dairy, even in single player, and so I was trying to figure out really what the capacity is going to be, and can it keep up with the production of the cows. And it clearly seems like it can't, because I think that was 3 or 4 months worth of time is what it took to produce that cheese and butter. And again, the butter wasn't running the whole time. I only turned on the butter, I think, yesterday to try to see if it would consume milk faster. But just like my fermenting silo, when I had both hay and grass in it, all it does is give you half, like, you still end up with the same output in total. It just uses the material half and half. And so I think that's in essence what's going to happen, is I'm not going to necessarily consume any more milk. I'm just going to get different products. If that's the case, I'll probably just switch it back to just cheese, because that's ultimately what's worth the most. And even though it's slow consumption to some degree, it is what it is if I'm not getting any faster consumption. So alright, I'm going to go ahead and leave this trailer here, because that's what it exists for. You know what, I'm not going to leave it here because I drive through here. So I'm going to leave it probably like where I was loading things. So I'm going to leave it like here, and then I can always move it later when I come and load it, because I think at this point it's too close to be able to be loaded effectively. But that gets us at least the trailer in the location it needs to be. And once again, if I have a yard, maybe I'll do something different, but there's no other purpose right now that I have for that trailer other than moving product from the dairy. And I always knew, hey, I might do a production, and so I wanted to do that. All right, it's hard to tell if it's running. All right, so on to the next thing. Now we've got our dairy sold. I really can't put a lot of milk in there, but what I can do, and you know, I'm gonna have to figure something out with the milk here. The slurry's been full. It's been full for a while, so I want to do something with that, and that's where it occurred to me, hey, silly, that was the reason you were putting in a BGA as well, was the silage was kind of a side thing. The thing was, how do I use the slurry so that I'm not just carting lots and lots of slurry places and selling it and make a little more money? And the BGA is obviously the solution that FS gives us for that. So that is what we're going to do. But what I determined is, silly me, again moving into FS22, this is my tanker. No slurry, just milk. So I've just been moving milk, which is great, but there is a solution. There's a universal trailer, and it's going to hold a little bit more, so I can put 50,000 liters in there. So for moving 450,000 liters of slurry, I think that would be the best thing. The only problem is it going to be too heavy, but we'll figure that out as we go. So I don't believe I put any milk in this trailer, but before I sell it, I want to make sure, because that would be really foolish to sell product I could make money off of inside the trailer and obviously just lose that because it doesn't give you money for that. So, all right. Let's see. Bring up the interface really quick. Nope, 0. So we are good. So since we've got to go to the store and get the new trailer anyway, we'll drive this over. I don't really have to do that. I could just sell it right here, but I'm going to have to drive the truck over to get the new one. We'll kind of role play it a little bit more realistically here, that I'm taking it to the store to sell it, and then I'm going to buy another one. And the store's right here anyway, so one of the reasons I picked this location on the map was the proximity to things, including light poles, obviously. Again, sarcasm in case people don't understand my dry humor. Sometimes it's a little more blatant. Sometimes there's a little more not dry. I was going to say wetness, but that just doesn't sound right. So it's less dry humor, but that was pretty dry. So just want to make sure people don't think I'm insane. I'm just a little unique. All right, so here we go. So you can see I got a whole 0.3 hours, but that again is because it's on this server. So it was just basically transporting the milk to the dairy there. All right, so that gives us what, 37,512. Not bad. And then, yeah, I had been looking kind of crazily, like, what do I do? I just hadn't gone through the whole list, so I'm just checking for my own sanity. So this would be a smaller trailer, but I can go with this. I mean, I've got a truck, so I shouldn't have any issue pulling it. So let's see, if we customize it, I tend to like my rims to be black, so we're going to do that. My favorite color is orange. Everything's been shouting, but orange metallic sounds exciting. Yeah, I think we'll do that. Now, what accent do I want? Oh, that's hideous. That looks like a pumpkin. Goodness gracious, maybe I just go back to the black. I don't understand. Is the only thing that's changing? No, because those bands are changing, but let's see. Oh, that's the main color. I don't want to change the main color. I want the main color. I want to change the design color. Yeah, that's not bad. Put some stainless steel on. I think that's what that is. This chrome is, I don't know. Chrome doesn't look as professional. We'll go with the stainless steel. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think it's a good design or not? Alright, so this is 30,000. If I change the capacity, 40, 50, is it getting like bigger? Can't really tell. Or if it's just, it says it's an extension, but I don't think it's really extending, but it's alright. But if nothing else, I can shrink it to 30,000 if somehow it becomes too challenging. So let's see, tread plate and rivets. Sometimes, you know, I'm always kind of like, let's do it all. But I can't really tell what it looks like. Let's see. So if I do the tread plate, where are rivets? I don't understand. Because I'm kind of thinking, I would think they'd be on, whoops, on the band. Oh, is that? Alright, let's see. So that's rivets, that's a tread plate. Interesting. I can't find the rivets. Anybody have any idea where the rivets are? It just seems stupid to pay for rivets if you can't even see them. Because otherwise I'll just go with the tread plate. Well, I don't know. I don't even know that it's worth it. Because it's like, are the rivets there? I just think the rivets aren't really there. Alright, we'll just leave that because we're not going to see it. There's no point in spending $500 for nothing. Alright, I think, other than, let's see, what do we got? Continental or Trelleborg. So it's basically standard tires or wide tires. I don't know that wide tires are going to help me much. Again, if I need them, I can always change them. And then what was the design? Oh, that's, duh. The design was that thing that I was with forever. So don't yell at me. Alright, here we go. So we're here. We're going to fetch it. Awesome. So yeah, certain things you can't do in orange, but if you can, I just like orange. I'm the orange farm. I like my orange. That's why I like this guy who runs the shop. He clearly likes orange too. His building is painted orange. It's terrific. It's a small town here. He and I are the only two members of the Orange fan club within Hobo's Hollow, but it is what it is, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, I was one of those weird kids that when I saw construction, I cheered. So my parents hated me because obviously they didn't really like construction, and it was very irritating, I'm sure. I mean, they never told me that or anything like, hey, we were getting ready to disown you because every time you saw construction cones, you wet your pants in excitement. But, you know, it was kind of a little bit like that, maybe. So that continues, minus the pants wetting as I'm an adult. Alright. Dry humor, remember? Dry humor. Slurry. That's not dry humor. That's very wet and gross. But let's go get some and put this in the tank. And yeah, some of the purists might be like, oh my god, you can't put slurry and milk in the same tank, but there's nothing that really stops us from doing that. So, there's not really a reason to have multiple tankers. So, that's what we're doing. But the benefit is then we're going to get more ability to move some milk as well. And likely, since I can see the dairy is really, really slow, I don't know that I want to have multiple dairies. I think that would just create more problems, because there's a lot of output that goes on from that anyway. As far as just, you know, getting things the server's got to deal with, so I think I want to minimize that and not do that. But let's get some slurry over here and see what the BGA will do with it, because this again is brand new to me, aside from my nice orange trailer that's also brand new to me, and more happily my truck is at least moving it. I mean, it's full. It's got 50,000 liters. I don't know how much that would weigh. I think it would be quite a bit. But one of these here, I'm assuming the one with the dump thing, is where I go. There we go. Start overloading slurry. So what I don't know is the capacity of this. It looks like a really big tank, but the silage is also over there, so I don't know if they like compete with each other. But what I can do now is now also activate slurry production. Oh wow, this doesn't look... This is not going to use as much as I would think. That is disappointing. I was hoping there was going to be like... I mean, look how big that tank is. Because I can fit almost 80,000 liters of silage in that bin. Like, why can't the tank, where it's sucking in all that slurry, take more than that? Well, that is a poor BGA design, is going to be my input. Like, the BGA should take hundreds of thousands of liters of slurry, and I didn't have enough space on the property to put up a big BGA. But at this point, once again, I'm going to have a situation, I think. I was hoping I wasn't going to. I was hoping I was going to empty the slurry in the BGA and have all kinds of capacity on top of it. But, goodness, let me look at this again. Yeah, I'm not going to make the assumption that I can do anything more than 75,000 until I can clearly do that. So, we're going to do this. And, because I want to move some milk as well. I'm going to have to go sell some milk, because otherwise we're going to have these cows starting to produce. I've given them all this input last episode so they can start doing their cow thing and making milk, and I'm not going to be able to get the benefit of that if I don't do something with it. So that's going to be the next thing now, but color me disappointed, that's for sure, because I was hoping that I'd have a full slurry output right here on my farm. Now again, the way the BGA produces, however, given that it's like 505 liters of slurry to do stuff, I suppose that should have given me a hint that if it consumes that slowly, because that's like a lot slower than the silage consumes. You know, and this has such a nice big trigger, but for nothing. It's just like teasing me. Like, oh yeah, you can dump slurry, you don't even have to be super accurate. And then it does that. Yeah, so it's the same. And my concern is, now that I have both of these running, that now the silage consumption is going to slow and so forth. So we'll see. But just keep an eye on what the money situation ends up being there. Alright, so now let's look at our options. Milk. 600, upper 600s. I'm going to have to check FSN because I can sell it there. I'm probably going to end up doing that as an export. And yeah, these are the I'm sure we both put up biogas plants. But yes, now that I know that I can't use a whole lot of silage, and again, this is, the cows produce it very, very well. So I am going to be real happy that I got this larger tanker, and I will get some of this moved over to the animal dealer. Because, you know, I mean, the reality is, think about what happens if you fill the slurry tank. The cows don't stop making it. Just think what it must be like in there. But I don't even want to think about it. It just gives me the willies. I don't know how well that translates in other cultures, but it doesn't. It means it's not good. So, now I just need to find the animal dealer, because I ended up just having them bring me my cows and paid for that. So that didn't help any. Oh goodness. Don't you do this to me. Come on. Ah, boy oh boy. Gotta love it. Alright. Oh, come on. Now I'm like really stuck? Oh yeah, I'm like, my wheels aren't even up in the... That's wondrous. Oh, I love when this happens sometimes, but yeah, I forgot there's a good hill here. Alright, so I'm gonna have to rethink that strategy. But we're gonna drop this, and then we're gonna do the Roman galleon version of things. Can I go through this? Yes. Okay. And we're gonna pretend we're on one of those Roman warships. And here we go. Ramming speed. That kind of worked. I just need to be careful that I don't get myself... Come on, did I really get myself stuck under the stupid trailer? No. Alright. But yeah, I need to find a way to get this back where I can then back up. Come on. Ay, ay, ay. Because I think if I connect to it now, I mean, I did move it a little bit, but I think if I connect up to it now, it's just going to put me in the wheels in the air position again, and that's not going to help anybody. And right now, I just want to help me, but it's just not going to work. So, let's see. Sometimes we'll get lucky. It might just be enough. So, let's see. Come on, I can see you creeping. Ah, come on, it moved a bit. Oh, it's trying really hard. Come on. I just need to figure out where I want to go out. Come on, my wheels are on now. I mean, this is foolish. Now you're just playing with me and being difficult. Like, I'm clear here, so let me back up for goodness sake. Oh my goodness, this is so ridiculous. This is the part of Farming Simulator I do not enjoy. Just kind of the insane. Now, again, I'll take blame for, because now that I really look at this, like, I should have, like, scouted where I was at. But again, because I've gone up successfully now, but now I'm on flat terrain, for goodness sake. I mean, although my wheels are, like, not turning on the trailer, I don't understand that. But I don't think I can turn enough here to clear this tree is the problem. And then that's going to be my next issue. Yeah, I think I'm hitting the tree with my bumper. Yay. That might be enough. But yeah, so I just need to come around the barn here and then go over to the driveway, which is a little smoother, I hope. Because I knew there was a hill there, I didn't realize how substantial it was, because I've driven in and out that way, even with a truck. Like, that's how I get the mineral feed in. Now, granted, I'm driving in there, but, and that Crampy's not the same size. Okay, what exactly is happening here? Oh, I know what's happening here. I don't have that connected. Stupid me. So, just ignore the idiot behind the wheel. Anyway. That wasn't the problem getting out, so don't, like, go back and watch that. I mean, you can go back and watch me disconnect the hoses when I had to disconnect the trailer when it was in the air. Like, they were connected, because if they weren't connected, I wouldn't have been able to fill it either. But alright, now where is the animal dealer? Now I'm confused. I know it's over there somewhere. Guess we'll just drive down the road and see. I just really don't want to be trying to turn this thing around. But this is the debris crusher. Gas station. And what else? Alright, we'll go to the next thing. I mean, I'm assuming it's gonna look animal-ish, right? It's gotta be in here. I mean, I know it was nearby. Let me see, is it here? Yeah, it's got the trigger there, so I think this is it. But I see the little pig sign over there. Alright. Maybe not. It said it takes slurry. Let's see. When in doubt. Okay, well, what is going on? Why are you not triggering? Okay, why slurry is accepted here? You're lit up. You're telling me you accept it here. Alright, let me see if there's some other spot around this building, but I mean, I get that this clearly doesn't look like somewhere that would take slurry. I mean, I'm certainly not going to put it into other things. Let's see, what are the other locations around here? Yeah, that's the spinnery. Alright, well, it says the animal dealer is there. That, I think, is just... I don't know. I guess we'll try and we'll see. Because obviously it put me there, but I'll go through the triggers, because that's the spinnery. And I would say this is where I, like, get animals. Oh, that's disappointing. Come on. I was like, oh, that's not bad. I'll just have to go here. So there's really no way to get rid of slurry here, even though it tells me I can sell it. I'm gonna definitely have to ask a question to the powers that be about that, because that may be a bug that hopefully they can fix. I mean, I'll make sure again, like, because sometimes you'll get that, like when things aren't connected appropriately, but, you know, obviously I could dump the slurry in my own BGA. I'm just wondering if the trigger point is, like, although I don't think that's the problem, because, like, if I try to do it now, well, okay, I'm still in the, you know, but my point is, well, yeah, because, like, now I'm hitting the button. It's not saying slurry's not accepted here. So it's like I'm hitting a trigger, but it's just not letting me take it. It's possible it's, like, full or something, but that would be weird. Alright, so, I mean, I need to empty this tanker to get milk, so I'm gonna at least have to go. We'll see how far this is. I just think this is more than I want to go, and again, it tells me the animal dealer will take it. So I'm certainly going to raise the question because I don't understand why it's not giving me the option. So I think that's actually a ticket to put in, because that's something they'll have to investigate. But sometimes we can get a question in the public FS22 questions forum, so whoop, 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 whoop. Now, hold on. No, the BGA is up the road here. I thought it was right here, but no, it's those 3 dots up there that I probably, I can't get to from there. Never mind. So yes, I need to go in where I was here. So I wasn't entirely wrong. So this has become kind of a cluster of episode, I'll tell you that. I figured, oh, it's just going to be work, and instead it's fumbling work, which is probably as enjoyable for you as it is for me. But maybe you're just having a beer and laughing. And if so, I'll take it, you know, whatever works. If I can be your comedic relief, I will do that. Alright. This is going to be the most difficult thing to get to because it's like out there in the woods. So I like have to go, yeah, like I really am getting more frustrated with the animal dealer not taking it like an animal dealer should. It tells me, you'll take it. Why are you not taking it? Like if somehow the BGA won't take it, then I'm going to start to question, like, is there something wrong with the trailer? But then why was I able to put it in my own BGA? But anyway. Yep, this is literally the same thing I have set up, so if it doesn't take it, I'd be amazed. Now, here, obviously it does. And then I think I'm not going to get anything as far as money, because the way the BGAs work in the game are you'll get paid at the end of the day, so I'll just see an amount later. But right now, this is where I can go. Alright, so I'm back here. Let me go get some milk, and we'll figure that out, and hopefully we'll have better luck with that. Alright, so the good news is we will have better luck with that because I can sell that through customs. Because compared to the upper 600s that I have here on the server right now, I can sell to customs for 880. And then more importantly, this is kind of what I tend to look at, like when the customs price exceeds the highest possible price I'll ever get on the server, like it's a no-brainer. Because it's possible customs may be higher, but I'm not really worried about that at this point. I just want to get some of that going and get some stuff sold. Because I'm chewing up cash here. I'm buying trailers that I then can't use the way I thought. Well, I mean, I can transport slurry, but what I mean is I was thinking, yeah, I'm going to run 9 loads over to my BGA, and the BGA will just keep cranking through the slurry, and it'll all be wonderful. That was part of the understanding I had from everybody who's like, oh yeah, have cattle, own a BGA, it's wonderful, because you can just take the slurry to your BGA and make money. Clearly not. I guess the high capacity one might take more, but again, when the cows are generating 450,000 liters of slurry and your BGA is only going to take 75,000 of it, yeah, it's not really wonderful. But yeah, the BGA is probably double the distance from what the animal dealer would be. So it's just not something I'd prefer to do if I can avoid. I'd really just be fine selling to the animal dealer that it's supposed to let me sell to. You know, and once again, obviously the tanker works here. Like, it doesn't appear to be a tanker problem. It's somehow that thing isn't accepting slurry for some reason. So I don't understand. So I've gone ahead and I've submitted a ticket as well for a map issue. And we'll see what happens, but that likely will take a bit of time regardless if they can fix it. So in the interim, I'm either going to be doing what I'm doing, which is kind of don't do much with the slurry. I mean, once again, maybe it'll get consumed pretty effectively, because what I don't know, because I haven't been monitoring that, is, again, slurry production. Like, if I can empty the slurry into my BGA, then I'm a lot less worried about it. But if I can't, you know, then I'm going to have too much, and I just don't know that I want to run it all the way to the other BGA, because I also don't know that the BGAs are unlimited. I know, for example, in generational farming, when we're filling with silage, you know, I'm worried, frankly, the BGA's the same thing I have here, and I think the only way I could test it is to take a little bit more than the 25,000 that I filled up here, you know, take another tanker over. But then the issue becomes, do I have nowhere to sell it then? I mean, I guess I can go to the bale sell point, but that is literally the opposite corner of the map. So, not a great option. But yeah, at this point, like, I took 100,000 out, so I would have been at 325. It looks like it makes 2,500 liters of slurry every hour. That's a lot of slurry. Alright, so this will be good for selling the milk. And I think that'll be it for now. Yeah, I wish the barn held more than 180, because I'm trying to be nice to the contractors, because basically the FSN trucks and tankers have 100,000 capacity. So if I put anything more than 100,000 in the sell point, they've got to go two places to sell it. I guess what I can check, I've never looked, is if I can sell slurry in customs. I can't imagine that would be the case, but if I can, then I suppose that gives me an alternative, because I don't really care if I cart it. I mean, if I have to cart it here, that's fine, because at least in that case I would imagine it's going to be at least a better price than the 140 or 150, 1,000 that I'm getting for it right now, which is why it's just, as I said, frustrating that I have a sell point that isn't really that far away. Like, even this FSN point is probably double or triple the distance than the animal dealer is from me, and getting the same amount, but I can't even imagine it's going to take slurry. So I guess I'll shut up about that until I check here. So I'll take a look once this starts dumping. So yeah, as I would have expected, we cannot sell slurry or manure. I just took a look at that too, just to see. So no cow byproducts, you know, because obviously this is the main product, is milk. So can do that, but we cannot sell slurry or manure through customs. So that is not an option. So for now, I've got a little bit of space. I'll let them answer it because yeah, if I can sell to the animal dealer, that'll be fine. You know, if my only choice is the BGA, I mean, at this point, I guess what I'll do to at least test the BGA, I'll run another load over, and if I take a full tanker and it takes it, at least maybe that BGA doesn't have a limit, but I don't think that's going to be what I'm going to find. I think what I'm going to find is I'm going to end up with 25,000 or so liters stuck in my tanker. But now that I've moved 100,000 liters of milk, I can go ahead and proceed and then hope that between my BGA and the other BGA, this tanker is going to be the death of me. I mean, I'm trying to go quickly, I get that, so I'm, you know, taking a quick turn here and there, so I got stuck on that tree. Alright, while this was filling, I've gone ahead and set up the contract for selling that 100,000 liters of milk, so that has been submitted. So that will mean I'll get 88,000 for that. Now, that becomes money that's on the FSN website that I can get in here through a transfer, but like that won't show up in game until I transfer things in. But that's okay. I mean, that's how it works within FSN. But what will happen is we have to wait for someone, if you're new to the FSN side of things, and this is your first time at the series, someone has to pick up the contract off the website, and then they'll log into the server here. They're able to sell it at any sell point, so it doesn't really matter what they sell it for. It's just kind of a dynamic to allow us to sell to the external marketplace. So they come in, they use the FSN equipment and go ahead and sell it, and once they do that, they mark the contract as complete, and then we get the money, and then it shows up in our account, and then we can, if we want to move it here into the farm, we can go and do a funds transfer, which then can take up to 72 hours to then be deposited here. So we'll see how that goes, because I mean, I certainly have plenty of money here. I just kind of feel poor because, you know, I showed up on this server with like 5.5 million, got transferred in here, but then that was to buy all the equipment and the land and all that, so it all adds up. So I haven't been over like 2 point. Goodness. I should have been able to make that turn. I wasn't going that fast. Wow. Alright. Just trying to figure out how to operate things on this map. I mean, normally, and maybe because it's a dirt road, maybe there's some friction variable or something that FS has that made that thing slide like it was on ice, but I don't know what it was. Because I don't know that I was going much faster than this, and obviously I'm able to make these turns, so I'm confused. But yeah, this is a bit of a haul. Now that, you know, the nice thing is at least this is a decent sized tank. But let's see if we can deposit the whole thing here. Just more a learning curve to understand, like, can I do it, or is it going to stop and then basically it's just gonna go ahead and, yep, there we go, 24,000. So it looks like I can get 76,000 or so in there, but that's it. So if the animal dealer doesn't work, like, I don't really have a way to unload slurry, because if we think about it, if it's really generating 2,500 liters of slurry an hour, that means in a 24-hour day I'm getting over 50,000. You know, I'm getting 60,000 liters of slurry every day, which I suppose I can my BGA might consume. I don't think it's going to even go that fast, though. I think the BGA consumes, like, I think it was 505 liters of slurry, and I think it has 48 cycles a day, so that basically means 24,000 liters of slurry. And that would be in this BGA and my BGA. So between the two BGAs, I could move 50,000, but I'm still 10,000 in arrears as far as having a problem of getting rid of it to not keep things full. So it would be nice to have the animal dealer work and the animal dealer be one of those kind of unlimited sell points that exist in areas of the map. Like if I go for crop sales, it's not going to tell me, hey, you're full. Like a sell point, you can just keep dumping things into. But as I said, the only other place to sell slurry is the opposite corner of the map. So it's all the way south and all the way west compared to my northeast up here. So that is just not really great. That's not going to work realistically either. Alright, so got this done. I suppose at this point I'll stop here. Well, that went too far. Although, well, it's not telling me refill, so maybe I'm not there yet. Oh, it won't let me fill because I have slurry in my vehicle. But I'll leave it here, and then we'll take a peek later. Later being now. Yeah, it's slowly consuming things, but not super fast. And like I said, so we'll see. It's 8 a.m. Basically at 75,000. I'll just see when I get back on next time what things look like. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else at this point that I could do. I don't think there really is. We've got our milk contract out, so we're going to have a little bit of income there. We've got the cows topped off. We've got what we can from the dairy that's been made, sold to the saloon. Yeah, I think we're good. We can't plant crop yet. Even if we could, we're going to be waiting till about this time next year. So we're kind of back to the point of waiting for auctions and kind of monitoring what's going on here. So in 7 hours, these cows will be at 100% health. They'll be producing 1,350 liters of milk an hour. So again, I have an outlet for that. I can go through to the sell point or to customs for FSN, or there's sell points on the map if somehow they end up being more, but that's usually pretty rare. So we'll go from there. But thanks for tagging along. Again, a little bit disappointed in the results I've gotten in this episode, but we've got to understand what the reality is that we have, and we work within it as much as we can, and we go from there. So with that, I'm going to head out of here. I'll see you next time.